If you have been living under a rock, you may not have heard, but we have Nvidia earnings tonight. The joke is because it's everywhere. Everyone's talking about it. And I'm just going to talk about why everyone else is talking about it, why I care about it, even though I trade systems, and what I think this could do to the market one way or the other, some potential outcomes from their earnings. So, first of all, why do I care? I trade systems. So, what we do over at Sasa Trading every weekend, I run my systems and they say based, there's entry points, exit points based off of pullback, mean reversion, trend following systems. We have all kinds of systems for different markets. And then I just wait for those things to trigger. So I'm not one that I'm generally going to ever listen to an earnings report or care what a company says when it comes to earnings. But Nvidia is different. And Nvidia is different because it's systemic. It's going to affect the entire market. So I think, we have to pay attention. Now, when it comes to the overall market, I just have here, this is the weighting of the S&P 500. Nearly 6% of the weighting of the S&P 500 is Nvidia, and 18% of the semiconductors is Nvidia as well. So I think it's a little bit more serious than that, just because if you look, okay, we have Microsoft with big into AI, obviously with OpenAI as part of their portfolio, all of that, 6% as well. So now we're talking 12% is interested in AI. Then we have Meta, 3%. That's going to have a lot to do with AI. We have Google, that has a lot to do with AI. So NVIDIA, for those who don't know, they sell the things that is used to make the AI. It's the picks and the shovels. It's the looking for how do we actually mine the data? How does the data get put into the actual system itself? It all falls apart without NVIDIA. So we want to look to see not for Nvidia and are they making or losing money, but everyone's looking at Nvidia because the more they sell, that means the more these other companies are spending on AI and the more that capex can kind of go to the bottom line of everything else. If Nvidia comes out and says, we're not selling very much. It's not that the world cares about Nvidia and missing earnings. It means that the rest of the world has kind of slowed down their AI spend, and AI is something that's just been huge in the market recently. So that's why I think it matters. That's why I think everyone's talking about it, not because of them. No one, they Nvidia could go up, it could go down. It's only one stock in the market, but the fact that it's this theme of the entire market. Now, I think one thing that kind of helps out is if you look at Nvidia, it is up today, but these are just some bets for a stream that I was on of where it's going to close. Nvidia was up today. Let's just go do this chart, but it's been down going into this earnings report. So it's been down from 143 all the way down to 125. So generally speaking, that can catch people off guard. So if a stock moves down into an earnings report, it means that they don't need to report stellar earnings. They just need to not miss earnings. And same with the S&P 500. The S&P 500, again, large part of this is Nvidia and AI as a whole, that has been selling down into the earnings report and we're stuck in the middle of this range. So, here's my bets. Here's my bold hot takes. I don't think it's going to move the market at all. And the reason I don't think it's going to move the market at all, because I think everybody thinks it's going to move the market. So the way I look at it is there's three scenarios. Scenario one is they blow earnings out of the water and the stock goes up a little bit and the market takes a big sigh of relief and it can continue to do what it's doing. It can continue to move based off other things. Step two, or idea number two, is that they just say everything is okay. All the guidance that we put through in the last couple quarters, that still holds. Nothing's really changed one way or another. We're not, really picking up in sales. Sales are not declining. We're just doing kind of whatever. I think that's still bullish for the market because I think the market looks at this Nvidia earnings and kind of looks at it as like a time bomb. At some point, they're going to miss earnings, they're going to disappoint the street, and the market's going to fall. But so as long as it's not disappointing, as long as they don't come in and say, yeah, everyone's really pulling back on AI spending, I think that's what the market's looking for. So both those scenarios we find. So if I had to take a bet on, and I did on a live stream today, on where I think NVIDIA is going to end up, I would look at the options chain. And whatever the expected move is at the end of the day, I bet you it's less than that because people are pricing in that risk. So for me, I think if we take this high and we take this low, the 50% mark is right here at 133.87. Let's call it 134. I wouldn't be shocked if the close of tomorrow we're at 134. Just because there's so many people betting on the bull side, there's so many people betting on the bear side. I think what the market is just looking for is to have nothing explode. And then if nothing's explode, it can continue this bounce that's going on. So that is what I think the market is caring about. That's why people are caring about Nvidia, in case you were wondering. And I am just excited for this to be over because even though I'm adding to it, I'm getting a little bit sick of everyone talking about Nvidia all of the time.